Major heat risk and dangerous fire weather as we head into our work and school week. I'm ABC 10 Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods tracking a couple of weather impact alert days ahead in the forecast. We're also tracking that fire danger, as you can see, tracking this bear fire in Sierra County. We're under a red flag warning until 8 o'clock tonight in the Sierra, due to the gusty winds as well as low relative humidity and the potential for rapid fire spread. And we're certainly seeing evidence of that. Again, that will expire at 8 o'clock for tonight, but we'll watch for another little pulse of higher fire danger coming up in the forecast. This is all going on as we continue to track the dry weather. Our last significant rain and snow happened in early May, so we've had several months without any wetting rain or snow. The last snowfall for the Central Sierra Snow Lab also occurring in early May. And our drought monitor showing growing drought conditions. Now, last week, our drought severity and coverage index was at 40, and the dryness was at 33% roughly. And then this week, we actually brought that up quite a bit, up to 41% for our dryness. And then our drought severity and coverage index is now at 49. We're not expecting any rain in the forecast. Instead, it's going to be more heat. We're also starting to edge towards the end of our water year. It will officially close September 30th. So these numbers have stayed intact since early May throughout much of the state. We're running a deficit for Sacramento, Redding, and South Lake Tahoe, as well as Palm Springs. But the rest of the state really did quite well for the second year in a row. We're also ending the dry season as those reservoirs start to kind of empty out somewhat. We're still above average for Shasta, our biggest reservoir in the state. Current capacity at 66%, but running ahead of average. That after 2 years of some pretty good rain as well as snowfall throughout the state. But this is building a water year for California. We kind of have two seasons, the wet season, the dry season. We're in the end of our dry season right now. The fall rain is about to start in October through November, with 50% of our annual precipitation coming December, January, and February. That's not to say that we won't get any in March, April, and May, but that's usually when we start to see things winding down, with our peak snowpack at the end of March, beginning of April, and then the peak snow melt happening. That's where we fill those reservoirs. And when we actually hit water at its highest demand, that's where we are right now, plus the heat that we have to deal with August into September. So we're not quite done with the near 100-degree heat yet. Our Labor Day featured a nice onshore flow. That wind pattern starts to shift, though, overnight. That'll be good news for the Sierra because we'll bring down that fire danger. But on the back edge of that weather system, we get the northwest winds. Those are dry and warming winds. It doesn't take much. Within a matter of about 12 to 18 hours, we're going to see a very different weather pattern developing. And that means we get quickly into the heat and some risks in there, with a heat advisory in place Wednesday morning through Friday evening. Major heat risk in play. Highs between 100 and 105, and an elevated fire danger just kind of in pockets throughout the region. But as we start to see our weather pattern shift, we actually bring in a significant fire potential Friday and Saturday for the Sierra and also the coastal range because of the risk of some lightning sparked fires. We'll be tracking that again towards the end of the work week and into the weekend. Our weather impact alert headlines include that big temperature increase, highs in the 100s, plus major to extreme heat risk. Not widespread, but we are going to see a couple of areas that will be showcasing some of that extreme heat risk. Major heat risk will be in play through much of the valley Wednesday into Thursday, and this is where we really start to see a few of those areas Thursday into Friday, showing the extreme heat risk, the potential for almost everybody being affected with that. East Bay communities, not everybody has air conditioning. A lot of the East Bay communities do, but not so much at the coast, where we'll see highs in the low to mid 80s for some of this forecast period. By Saturday and Sunday, things start to ease up a little bit, so that's some good news there. But again, we're not done with the 100s yet. The average last 100-degree day doesn't actually hit until September 15th, but the latest last 100-degree day, October 10th. So we can go deep through September, early October, before we really start to take the our foot off the gas of those 100s, right? Average monthly high temperatures, though, start to come down quite a bit here, September into October, and that's when we start to draw in some of those fall rains and really ramp up during the month of December. Fall has been warming, though. Look at climatologically, especially throughout the state, the southern half seeing a bit more warming than, say, the northern part. But our average temperature in Sacramento is 1.2 degrees warmer than it was in 1970. So it's just been kind of ticking away here as we look at that trend line throughout the course of the past couple of decades. We're going to see that warming take place after a beautiful wrap up to the holiday weekend. We start to see the warm up with about 10 to 15 degrees above average in play for our Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday forecast. That's why we have that weather impact alert for that time frame. That's going to be the when. The impact being those temperatures near 105, heat stress, heat illness, needing shade and hydration to avoid those. Our low pressure system that brought us the nice little onshore flow quickly moves off to the east. Here's that big ridge of high pressure. It's sinking, warming air. It peaks on Thursday, and this is going to be all up and down the west coast here. Will eventually move its way off to the east, but that's when we start to bring in a different weather element that could linger those weather impact alert days. Knowing the signs of heat exhaustion, thirsty, dizzy, nausea, cool, clammy skin, sweating a lot. When it ticks up a notch, that's going to be heat stroke, headache, red, hot, dry skin, and no sweating. Want to call 911 immediately to get attention to anybody suffering from that. Car temperatures on a hot day. A lot of us have kind of shifted our whole routine with kids heading back to school, perhaps different sports activities. It's always good to look before you lock. It just takes minutes before the car temperature gets to unbearable conditions, whether it's for a person or an animal. Speaking of animals, too hot to trot. The concrete can get quite toasty. 5-second rule, always a good one to have. Put the back of your hand on top of the surface. If it's too hot for you, it's too hot for the pet. And it doesn't take a whole lot to get those air temperatures warm in that concrete, especially. Grass is a better option. It just tends to take a little bit longer to warm up, except for dry grass. That can be very, very crispy and hot. Our weather impact alert days, as I mentioned, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday under that high pressure ridge. Now, as it moves eastward, we'll start to see the opportunity of Sierra showers and thunderstorms reappear in the forecast Friday into Saturday. That's why we have that elevated risk of seeing some perhaps lightning sparked fires. Our 8 to 14 day climate outlook, well, this hasn't changed. Likely warmer through the middle of September, but also likely wetter, especially throughout the Pacific Northwest. That could be some good news to kind of tamp down some of that higher fire danger we've been dealing with. We just don't want it at the expense of lightning with thunderstorms, because that could elevate it once again. So we'll be tracking that. Forecast for tomorrow, we get things going here on the warming trend. Highs near 80 for the Sierra, 90s to near 100 through the foothills, with 80s along the coast. Once we edge our way inland, East Bay communities in the 90s. Once we get into the coastal valley communities, we're in the 100s, as well as the Delta and the valley temperatures, upper 90s to near 100. So we take it out of the upper 80s into the upper 90s to near 100, 10-degree jump up quickly here in the next 24 hours. There's that chance of thunderstorms Friday and Saturday for the Sierra. For the hills, we'll call for dry conditions, but highs close to 100 Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. A little better relief on the weekend. For the coast, highs in the 70s and 80s. This is going to be really toasty for the coast Tuesday and Wednesday, with those highs in the 80s. A little cooler, though, by the weekend. Lots of fog, though, that we're going to be tracking Saturday. 3-day forecast. Those are our first 2 days of our weather impact alert days. 103, 105 right in through Friday. And then we start to see slightly cooler weather ahead by next week. We'll see some 80s in there by the middle of next week. At least that's the way that things are playing out right now. And we'll keep you posted with our weather playlist and in-depth forecast on our ABC 10 Plus app. Go ahead and download that. It's live, local, always on. It's free to watch on Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV.